What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to talk about some news that's coming out involving the markets and Tesla, what you should be watching for as time goes on. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. The offer ends very soon, in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. So far, Tesla's getting bought back up very nicely, holding this support as we're seeing a push. We're also seeing SPY holding up very nicely. The market remains bullish. I think we're doing a good job so far. Now, whether or not this move continues is going to depend on some news. So I want to talk about what that news is and what the trust is suggesting thus far. Now, there's a lot of talk that came out involving Elon Musk. Obviously, his $50 billion pay deal was rejected again in the courts, so this is still making a lot of headlines. This caused Tesla to dip a bit yesterday, but so far we're getting bought back up. So that's a good thing for Tesla as the rally is still continuing, and we're still seeing buyers defend it despite this news. And that is once again a good piece of news, as we're seeing buyers who are still present. And it looks like this news is not going to cause a massive dump in Tesla as of right now. So far, Tesla looks very resilient. On top of this, there was some news that came out about how Tesla's Chinese-made EV sales did drop just a little bit, but the share price is still holding up despite this. So they basically had about 78,856 November new registrations, essentially. We did see an increase in the Model 3 and Model Y sales, but the other sales did slow down just a bit. Overall, very close to what we saw previously, so it's not that bad. I would say overall, overseas shipments are actually making up about 6% of the sales, and domestically, they're looking still okay in China. But on a year over year basis, they are down just a little bit by about 4% for the month of November. So we could see a big boost in December. That's what we're going to be looking for because Tesla's looking for more incentives to get those sales up. And this could be the reason why, maybe because of the fact that there was a slight sales drop. They're trying to really push those sales for the month of December. So this doesn't really matter too much until we see what happens by the end of this month, once we get our sales data in a couple of weeks. So we'll see how it goes. This is still going to be something that is worth mentioning, and we'll have to see how it goes for them, at least in the future. With that being said, what is happening with our data? Today at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 15 minutes after the stock market opens, we have the S&P Global Composite and Services PMI reports. And then 10 o'clock a.m., we have more ISM services data for new orders, prices, business activity, and etc. So look for some high volatility at 9:45 a.m. and also at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. is going to be the main hours to look for that, and we'll see what that leads to. So watch that very carefully at 10 o'clock a.m. We'll see if we end up seeing a big surge in volatility and what that leads to, at least moving forward. The ISM services data is going to give us more insights about how the sector is doing, not to mention what we're seeing for forward-looking data, especially for new orders. So look for some volatility at 10 a.m. and we'll see what that leads to for the markets. The market still has lots of momentum as we're at all-time highs. Besides that, I didn't see anything else that's too crazy, at least for the time being. We did see Salesforce see a big jump in share price after they reported their earnings. They didn't miss on EPS, but their revenue was a strong beat, and then their guidance is quite good by AI power, uh, you know, claims basically. So that's a good piece of news for them. Besides that, now let's just focus on the charts. So Tesla has a possible cup and handle we were talking about for the last couple of days. We were worried it would come down closer to our 20 EMA, but now we're bouncing off of this. So if Tesla can manage to push slowly and break past 360, this is going to see a big breakout, and we're going to be looking for the 370s pretty quickly. If Tesla starts dipping, we lose 350. Look for 348 as the main support at our 20 EMA. If that fails us, we could fill the gap back down to 345. Looking at the chart, there's a cup and handle, and Tesla does look more bullish to me, so it favors upside a bit more. And this chart does look like it wants to be breaking out higher to get closer to these higher levels. So there's a good chance that Tesla pushes for this 360 area, or at least the very high 350s. And we'll see if we break that. If that breaks, we have a cup and handle like structure, and this could lead to new highs for Tesla, so just keep that in mind. As far as SPY goes, we're looking more bullish. There's no sign of this slowing down. We actually managed to break past that tough resistance at 604. And because we're above 605, the next resistance is going to be closer to 607 for SPY. If 607 breaks on SPY, we're looking for 609 to 610 all the way up to new all-time highs. If we end up losing 604, we're looking for 602.5 as the main support. As of right now, we just continually get bought back up. So this is still favoring upside. And this looks like it could push even more to new all-time highs upon open. So if we do get closer to 607, that's great and all, but whether or not this move continues will depend on this data. So we'll see what happens with the data coming out at 9:45 and 10 a.m. If we continue this push, then we could continue approaching Jerome Powell's speech at 1:45 p.m. today. So for now, we'll have to see what the reactions at 10 a.m. once the data comes out. Do we get a rug pull and lose 604 to turn back down, or do we just keep pumping? As of right now, the chart looks more bullish and favors upside. So far, the bulls have a bigger edge. On ES, we're also breaking out right now. We're at 6,080 is our resistance. If we continue to hold above this, we could get very close to 6,100. And if we lose 6,080, we're looking for essentially a retest of 6,060. Now, right now, just know this, we do have some big data coming out at 10 a.m. If that causes a rug pull for the markets, we're going to be looking for a retest of 6,060. If that fails us, we dip back down. And as long as we continue this trend, we're looking for 6,100 as our next resistance area. So we look bullish, but we'll have to see what happens with the data release. So just keep that in mind. That's going to be coming out at 10 a.m. That's the main time when we have the bigger pieces of data. For Bitcoin, we are just flat right now. We did push, as we predicted, to about 97,000. Then we came back down. As long as we hold this support near 95,000, so we could dip a little bit and try to bounce again. We're range bound right now, but overall, we're holding up quite well. So I do see some sideways price action as a potential move. Nvidia's bullish. We call out 142.5. It could continue to break out here. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders. As long as we don't lose 140, this does favor upside, and we could be on our way back up for 143.5 as the next target. If that breaks, we're looking for 146. So overall, Nvidia looks bullish, trying to uptrend from here. It could push more, and that could help the broader markets to a larger extent. For NQ, we're looking bullish. We're breaking out. We even broke past 21,300. Looking very bullish right now. We could be looking for 21,500 as our target. As long as we do not lose 21,300, we're favoring upside for 21,500. We'll see what happens once we get our data release. So keep that in mind. When the data comes out, it's going to cause some more volatility. Otherwise, we remain more bullish. The QQQ looks more bullish as long as you do not lose 520 and also around 516. We're favoring 521, then eventually 525 is a potential target. The QQQ looks very strong and very bullish. There's no sign of this slowing down yet, and this could continue to pump as we open. Now, yes, it looks bullish. It could be going for 525, but wait and see what the data leads to at 10 a.m. Otherwise, the chart looks more bullish. For Apple, Apple has a tough resistance at 244 or just under 244. We'll have to see if we break past that to get closer to about 245. If we reject, look for 242.5 as the main support, followed by 240. Overall, this could dip a little bit, but then it's going to be a tough resistance. If we do dip a bit, we could still get bought back up later. So overall, the trend remains bullish unless we end up losing 242 and 240. We still favor upside nonetheless on Apple. For MSTR, we are kind of flat right now. We have this resistance to watch for all the way up here around 385, and the support's down here around 376. There's that gap to fill in the pre-market, so it might dip a little bit to fill that gap at 375. Then we'll see if we get a bounce or not off of that. Palantir looks more bullish. It's on a strong uptrend. We do have some tough resistance at 72. We need to break 72 to push up towards 74. If 72 fails, though, we're looking for the support very close to 70. Might see a small dip before it tries to continue to go higher. It's still on a strong uptrend, so look for a dip for a potential bounce. With the IWM Russell 2000 being led by small caps, just know this, we're very flat right now. We have to try to break 240.5. If that breaks, we're looking for essentially 242. If we lose this support, though, we're looking for essentially 238, but this still looks more bullish. Could break out even higher if we break past 240.5 to hit 242. For, excuse me, AMD, we look more bullish. As long as we do not lose 140, we're favoring a push for 144, then eventually much higher levels. For Coin looks more bullish. We're going to be looking for a test of this high right here at 315. If it breaks that, we're looking for essentially 325. If this rejects, we're looking for 306 and 300. We could retest 306 and we'll see if we get a bounce, but overall, it does look like it could continue this trend. Amazon's very bullish. We hit my target of 215 already. If we reject here, we're looking for a retest of 212.5. But as long as we break 215, we're going to be looking for 217. It's a tough resistance here, so we'll have to see what kind of reaction we get at 10 a.m. For Meta, we pumped very nicely to about 615, making a very, very nice move. Then we came back down. So as long as we hold 610, we could be looking for an attempt to get back up to 615. If not, if we lose 610, we could be dipping back down to about 605 before it tries to bounce again. So look for a little dip to 610. We'll see if we get a bounce or not. Microsoft did a great job of pushing to 435. It's still very bullish. Could dip a bit before it tries to continue to push, but this upside potential still remains as we get closer to 440. Look for a small dip to about 432, and we'll see if we bounce. Google looks more bullish. As long as it does not lose 172, it's favoring a push to slowly make its way up to about 175. So overall, the trend is still in favor of bulls. So with that being said, guys, the bulls have a bigger edge right now. They're continuing to, rocket the market higher. Let me just say this: as far as Tesla goes, it has potential to break out, but we need to try to break past 360. There might be a push upon open towards these higher levels, but whether or not the move lasts will depend on the status. So we'll see what the reaction happens to be. With that being said, I appreciate you guys so much for listening. Please have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys very soon in the next one in just a couple of hours. Thank you for listening and peace out.